Good Saturday evening, YouTube. I am back with my crazy pieces of hair that'll stick up and be all annoying and crap. Alright, I'm back. And guess what? Crisis averted. I'm not going to post that video. I made a video of me working on my APU. Or, well, working inside here. Gonna work on my APU. It was just a sock, guys. That's it. It was a sock. There was a sock covering my vent. Do you know how I froze my butt off? So, note to self, note to others that sometimes have cranial flatulence like self. Make sure that when you take your socks off before you go to bed, that they're not blocking any vents. I usually throw them up towards the front. You know, I got my curtains drawn, so they're like where the back of the passenger seat would be. So I don't even know how it ended up there blocking the vent, but it blocked the whole vent. I can usually hear the whistling. Like when that vent gets partially blocked, you can hear a whistle where it's sucking air and it's not sucking as much air as it needs to suck. Anyway, I'll put like a kind of coaching video in there later on, maybe on what I've done with my APU settings that are in the Thermo King TriPack APU R3 version, which is actually the R2 version. I'll go into detail on that later. Because, you know, you can get the download. There's some of y'all that don't know where it is and might need explanations or whatever. But as promised, I'm going to tell y'all some of my quarterly numbers, some of my year-end numbers, and so on. Now, these might be, they might not be 100% accurate. I might be a hair off. I have a accountant reviewing everything currently. So, where is my sheets, man? Oh, it's not there. I'm sorry. I got to go to a different location for this nonsense. So, anyway, alright, as I said before, I've been using Let's Truck for the last 6 months. Like Trucking actually uses Truckin' Office. I don't know if there's any kind of integration with the employees' stuff as well as employees and their stuff, or if there's any kind of way to integrate that. I did download the app so we can correlate, I don't know, so we can share info from a trip. Like he can see numbers on it, MBOLs and so on. So, anyway, here's what I got. Here's what I came up with for last year. Total profit, not profit, my bad. Not profit, my business report for the company. Not the business report. All right, let's go there. Profit and loss. So gross. What are you doing? Gross income for the year was at 181 between Schneider and like Trucking. While I was at Schneider, I grossed approximately 84, and while at like Trucking, it's actually while at like Trucking, I grossed 96. It doesn't 181, 96, 94. Yeah. So that's got me at 181. Well, 96 and some change, and 84 and some change comes up to 181, right? So that's the gross. That's not with expenses and all the other nonsense that goes on there. But so the first 5 months I was in the lease truck, and the lease payment was around $20,000. Spent $12,700 in fuel while I was there. On where's my mileage at? There was a spot I could have sworn I seen my mileage on. Well, doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. So hang on. This is ridiculous. Okay, sorry about that. Not that you knew there was any time lapse there, because it was like instantaneous to bam, bam, here I am back again. Anyway, so I was looking at the numbers. I wanted to see what exactly was going on here with everything. So I did this before, and I didn't write everything down that I wanted to write down. So, and now I did it again. So we've got... Wait a minute, I got to do the miles real quick. All right, so I made considerably more money working with like trucking than I did with Schneider, but remember, spot market is not guaranteed as well as contract, or is it? We'll find out when everything goes into depression time and there's no money to be had anywhere, and spot market guys struggle. But right now, we're not struggling, are we? Anyway, so for the whole year, I drove 93,951 miles. Less than 100K, guys. Right? So, here's what happened. In the first quarter, first I'll tell you this. January, these are per mile rates, average. January, $1.58. February, $1.74. March, $1.45, 82 days out. April, and those 3 months right after COVID happened, I was out for almost 3 months straight. 4, 8, 12. I was out for a good 12, 13 weeks, almost, something like that. I don't remember what the number was, but it was ridiculous. I was tired of the crap. I wanted to go home. But it didn't lose, well, I don't know. It fluctuated. April, $1.83 a mile. March, $1.29 a mile. I'm sorry. January, February, March. April. May comes after April, stupid. May, $1.29 a mile. But remember, May, I went to get my truck. So I didn't work nearly as many days in May or June as I normally did. So the second quarter, April, May, June, I only worked 68 days. As opposed to the 82 the first 3 months, the first quarter. June was $2.50 a mile. This was after my entry into the spot market. I think I had 1 week where I worked for Schneider, and that last day I drove, got my wife, picked her up, and went to get my truck set up all the way up in Michigan, picked my trailer up, grabbed a, $4,000 load or whatever it was, and went down to Florida. Florida? No, Savannah. I think the first one was an auto parts load. July was $2.15 a mile average. January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. August was $1.76, and September was $2.60 with 66 days out. So I guess you could say second quarter and third quarter were comparable to each other almost, even though there was a split in there of 2 weeks with the swap over from one company to another. I'll tell you what those quarter numbers ended up in a minute. So they were actually way off. They were 8,000 difference. October, November, December. October was $2.52, November was $2.11, and December averaged $1.86 with 59 days out. Now, December, I only worked like 2 weeks. I didn't work at all, hardly, in December. It's not going to let me see just the month, but total driver days for the whole year was 275 days, which means I took 90 days off. That's 3 whole months for the year, and I still grossed 181. Now, I'd say that's pretty good. And I came home with a decent income. Better than this poor quality company right there. No, really. I mean, if you want a good job, you can go work at Frito-Lay. They pay well. They got great benefits. They babysit the crap out of you. They make you do split weeks. If you're in the sales department, you don't get 2 days in a row off. You don't have seniority when you first start. Okay, this isn't about that. I could go on and on about them. They are a good company, though, but other than the part of them being a good company, there's issues within, as there is within a major corporation. So the first quarter, I made 44. The second quarter, I made 44. I'll do 44.3 and 44.2. Third quarter, I made 52.2. Third quarter was 2.5 months with light trucking and 2 weeks with Schneider. Remember that, right? And the last quarter, which was the least amount of time work, was only 40, which was 4,000 less than the first 2 quarters with Schneider. But I still made net profit well over what I did when I was with Schneider, because I wasn't paying $4,000 a month in a truck. I didn't have to kill myself at Christmas time because I took off for Thanksgiving, because the only thing that I had to pay was my truck and the lease on my trailer, which instead of being way on up there, my lease comes out of my settlements when I come back. I mean, if I miss 5 days, I'm not going to get in trouble, and it comes right back out of my check. So, great company to work for. Y'all should check it out if he has any openings left by the time you check it out and they're able to round up a trailer. Anyway, I don't know. And if you look at, like, I averaged overall, the first quarter was $1.59, second quarter was $1.84, third quarter was $2.13, and fourth quarter was $2.15. And this is the amount after, where you at? Business report? Come on now. This was after, no, that was gross. And that was after Schneider's takeout and after like trucking's takeout. So that doesn't include, like, if you took like what I made the third and fourth quarter, it's actually more than that if you work for yourself. But you got to consider you're going to have to pay your insurance by yourself. You got to pay for your own ELD. You got to pay for your trailer. You got to pay for your truck. If you have all those payments, you got to pay for your plates. I pay for my plates, but they're like lumped out in November. You got to pay for innumerable amounts of other things. And the only thing that I would normally have to pay for, that the things I got to pay for, that, well, that's just, look, expenses are going to vary from person to person and company to company. You can go to, what was that? Some guy the other day, I read all these different posts about what these guys are paying. And there was a guy the other day on one of the big corporations where you can lease a truck from. It wasn't Schneider, and it wasn't, and I know it wasn't Mercer, it wasn't Landstar, because those you basically bring your own truck. But he said that they paid $600 a month for their trailer. That's just insane. You can buy a trailer for, I'm sorry, $600 a week. $600 a week for their trailer. You can buy a trailer for less than that if you can find one. But, I mean, and he had to pay for his ELD. And he had to pay for other little nickel and dime you to death fees, right? So find yourself a company that's straight up 20%, or, yeah, I mean, even 35%. Landstar, it was 35%, but you got little hidden fees also in there too. There's a couple of them. I don't know what all they are, but I've been told there's a little bit here and there extra that gets taken out. But that's it, people. Those are my numbers. 181 for working 9 months out of the year. Gross. Just remember, that's gross. You still got to pay your taxes. You still got to pay everything else. You got to pay your salary depending on how you work it. And if you get into this business, get an accountant. Do not use a company such as, I don't know, it starts with an A and ends with an S and it's promoted by a lot of the major corporations. Don't use them, because they lump you in. Everything I've read about them, they have really bad reputation, and they lump you in with basically a category. Like this guy has one arm and you have 3 arms, but they're going to take you both and lump you into the same category and say you're the exact same person, and treat your tax differences exactly the same, even though you get a write-off. The one-arm guy is going to get a write-off because he has to work extra hard, and the 3-arm guy is going to pay a little bit more because he can do much more. So it's that's a stupid hypothetical situation. But Anyway, they'll go to a regular, real accountant that deals with trucks and ask them how to get you set up. And LLC is okay. S corp, there's so many different variables, and you have to, depending on which way you're going. I set mine up as an S corp because I was planning on expanding my business and expanding my business and expanding my business. But now I don't know if I'm even going to go that route because I'm happy where I'm at. I'm not really interested in going further. I am, but I'm not, because I don't want. There's certain things I don't want, and there's certain things I do want. And where I'm at now, I think I can achieve everything I need to without having extra stuff heaped onto me. But then again, if I want to leave a legacy that, like Mr. Schneider did, that my kids can take over and then completely destroy, I won't be able to do that unless I open and get more trucks and get my own authority and so on. So I don't know. Do I want to leave a destroyable legacy, or do I want to, so my kids can throw me in a home later on because, they're making the millions of dollars that was mine in the first place? Who knows? Who knows which way I'm going to go? Only God knows. But anyway, yeah, keep them socks away from the holes, and so on and so on and so on. But I'll tell you another thing. So I took the cost spreadsheet that I got from James, Big Rig CEO. He's got a good cost spreadsheet to look back on his previous 2020 videos and look for costs and something spreadsheet video, and you'll find it. But I took his cost spreadsheet and I broke it down, and then I added my own sheet to the side that carried some numbers over so I can figure out what I need. And I broke down what I need per day, literally per day, and I spread it across a month. Like if there's 31 days in a month, what I did was I took it and I added up my costs, spread them over the whole year, and then divided by 365. And this is what I need per day, per month, for every month. And at that column at the bottom, now it'll be different for February because there's only 28 or 29 days depending on if it's leap year. So, and I put it at the bottom, and that way I know this is what I need to make. So I got a gross needed column, and then I got a gross desired column that has my what I want per day. Say I want 800 per day. Say I want 1,000 per day. If I want 1,000 per day and I'm working 20 days, I want $20,000 for that month. So that'll give me 10 days off for the month. But say my expenses are 500 a day, and it's spread out over the whole month, and there's 31 days in a month. That's $15,500. So I'm going to make $4,500 over what my desired is, what my need is. My desired is always going to be more than what I need. So I took that, and then I put another column in on what I earned, and then I put another column in for fuel because I don't have fuel in the equation, because the fuel is always such a different variable depending on how I drive and where I drive and the loads and the wind and the cold and all that. So then I take that off of what I've earned. I add the fuel to what I've earned. I'm sorry. I take the fuel away from what I've earned. That way I can still be sure that if my cost that I want is break even with my cost that I need, then I've got to do something to make sure that my fuel doesn't eat up everything else out of there. Other than that, everything else is figured into my gross needed. That's the only thing I took out of my gross that I need is the fuel, because everything else isn't as huge of a variable. You can do it a different way or whatever. Right now I got this thing set up for being out for 20 days. And I need to expand it because it started on the 4th, and I'm actually going to be out just a hair longer than that. I'm going to be out like 2 days after the election. No, I do have it for the right amount. I got it for 20 days or 21 days. I don't know. Anyway, so I've actually, in it's not 17 days. Is this right? This is wrong. So if I do, it is wrong because it starts at 2 and ends at 20. So I've got it down for 19 days, right? And the amount that I want, I'm only 3,500 away from the amount I want. I got 5 more days. So I mean, if I really wanted to, I could make $600 a day, $700 a day, and then be where I want to be at. I only need like $536 more on one load before the 20%. So I only need $428.84 minus the fuel it takes me to run that to make what I need for the month. So when I end this month, which it isn't even going to end then because that's on the 22nd, and I'm only going to be off for 4 or 5 days, and then I'm going to come back out. So I'll have 3 or 4 more days to make the rest of the month, and that'll be more profit in my pocket. The only problem is my profit's not going to be in my pocket this month because it's going into like I said before in the other video, I'm going to try and just check the pickup tube and all that nonsense and get them to fix that and fix the injector, the pass-through, that little... On the driver's side, there's 6 of them, and they start to leak when they reach a certain age. And there's one of them, and I think the one behind that you can't hardly see at the very back by the driver's side is leaking too. I'm not sure. They said they're really easy to fix, but then they're really easy to strip out. I can probably do those myself. And I probably will, but the oil pan gasket with all the rest of the stuff, I think I'm going to get them to do. I don't want them to do the fuel pass-through thing because, I mean, that's another $1,000 or $500 or whatever added on. And the parts are $10 a piece. You just got to be careful when you're putting them back together. Anyway, that's about it, people. I mean, I don't think there's anything else I got on this one. So, but yeah, last week, I'm actually not doing too bad. I did like 1,907 miles last week, and I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 58 before the 20%. So I made 1, 2, whatever. I don't even know, man. All I know is I'm making what I need to make. 20% isn't killing me, and it never will. I'll be grossing over $12,000 this month. I'm already a hair above 11 and a half, and I've only worked 14 days, if that tells you anything. So, good times, people, good times. I was averaging $1,000 a day. So, anyway, freight's still there for now. Still doing good. Brokers still suck. Some of them, anyway. I got a broker story for you before I go. So I hit this guy up. He had a decent price on it, but it was going for $400 to $1,000 more than what he had it in there for. So I was looking. I think he had it in there for 7 or 17, and I asked for. I was shooting for 2. Yeah, it was 17. I was shooting for 2, and I told him I would do it for. That was $1,750 is what he had it in there for. So I was shooting for $2,000 on it, and I told him I'd do it for $2,250. He sent me an email back because this guy was only on the email. He sent me an email back, says you need to go somewhere. I said, go somewhere. I sent him an email back. I looked his credit up. I didn't say nothing about it. He was denied anyway. So I sent him an email back. I said, so this load had sat on there for a while. So he sent me a message back. Picks up 8 to 4, delivers on Monday 7 to 10, weighs 43 and a half, rates 1750. And I had told him, and I said, and I had asked him what the commodity was. And I said, commodity? And he said, freight all kinds on pallets. If there's one thing that pisses me off, it's somebody that comes up and says, oh, it's freight all kinds. Well, everything is freaking freight all kinds, you freaking moron. Anyway, so I said, I'm looking for 2250. He said, you need to look at something else. And I said, rate's been averaging, and I had looked it up. I said, rate's been averaging 18 to 2400, and that's been on the board for a while. His load was on the board for a while. I said, I was just trying to help you out. Plus, freight all kinds is very non-descriptive. Have a blessed day. And he just sent a message back that said, thanks for your help. Yeah, you should have seen the reviews on this guy. It was terrible, man. No payment. It was ridiculous. What an idiot. And then also they were claiming he was double brokering loads and so on. So I wouldn't be surprised because, they'll do that. They'll put a ridiculous amount on there, even though it wasn't that ridiculous. And I was like, you're crazy. So anyway, but that's it. I mean, brokers come in all shapes and sizes, don't they? You gotta love them. They try and lowball you all the time. But that's all I got. And I'll tell y'all more later on when I get that truck worked on and so on. So it'll probably be, I don't know, it might be a couple of weeks. I know I haven't posted a lot of videos, and I haven't put nothing about there on my truck, my pickup, good old silver dollar, because I ain't been home because my wife got exposed to somebody that was exposed to somebody that supposedly had COVID. We don't know, and not sure, but I wanted to make sure that there wasn't nothing going on before I went home, and there's not. So now I can go home, but it's going to be Monday in a day and a half, and everything's good, and then I'll go home. So, and I got me 2 more load locks. I lost 2 load locks, and I got 2 back. So I got lucky. But you know what? Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll holler at y'all later.